speaking of jokes, I guess we'll jump into our first topic as there's a joke against not just who we're talking about here, but a lot of actors that signed on to the MCU. But let's talk about Simu Liu, who of course plays Shang-Chi. Now, he, along with many other actors who were hired for the MCU, like the cast of the Eternals, the cast of She-Hulk, and multiple other projects. I mean, Miss Marvel, for example, right? And that cast. They're pretty much nowhere to be found. And Simu Liu seems to be the one that's the most vocal in an indirect way because people have found online that he's pretty much disliking or liking all the videos hating on Bob Iger and Marvel Studios cutting back on diversity and bringing these characters back and how they're ignoring them. And I'm like, yeah, like,
I mean,
yeah,
technically, he's kind of valid because of how they're going about it, and it's all predicated to the bottom line. But in retrospect, it's Disney and Marvel higher ups their fault technically because
yeah,
they didn't have an outline of what they're actually going to be doing instead of going into 2020 and just greenlighting everything and
right.
just seeing what sticks and most of it not sticking because people want quality, not quantity.
But also, you got the issue that people are like, there's a misconception today, and I tested two friends of mine who were fans of the MCU. Let's put it that way, right? You know how it is. After Endgame, nothing's good, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
I asked them, I was like, so you didn't like Shang-Chi or Eternals for X, Y, and Z. Why do you think they're not getting sequels? They're like, they didn't even make $1 billion like all the other MCU films. I was like, which ones? They were like, well, all the Captain Americas, all the Thors. And I was like, actually, factually, Eternals and Shang-Chi made as much as Thor, way more than the Incredible Hulk, way more than Captain America 1, especially in merchandise sales. So I showed them numbers and they were like, well, I was like, okay, so you're part of the grift now. You're just revisionist history, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah, you can not like certain characters and be whatever, that's fine. But if you're gonna try and change facts from history about what actually happened to these movies and what came out, then it's kind of just disingenuous with your opinion.
yeah, it's like we're at a point now where a new franchise isn't given room to breathe anymore and to grow. It's like it's got to hit with minimum of 650 million, a billion guarantees a sequel, and then you're good. And it's like, but how are you supposed to cultivate that if you're not giving it the same treatment you gave everything else? Like, I know many people don't want it. I would like to see an Eternals too. I really
Don't
would
lie.
because
Don't lie to them.
you can see through my
I've got
eyes.
the DMs to prove that's not right.
But I genuinely like. I do want to see those characters back and doing stuff in the MCU, especially like Cersei, for example. Like, there's so many cool characters, and I'm like, oh, so we're just barely gonna see any of them again. And it's like because they're not afforded the same chance that the MCU was. Ant-Man 1 wasn't $1 billion franchise, neither was Doctor Strange, but they're growing closer to it. So it's
I think ultimately the biggest problem here is COVID. Because part
yeah,
of me's like, sure, the optics of phase 4 and everything is I didn't have a plan. Like that's fair
yeah,
enough. I can see where people get that from. I do genuinely think a lot of the stuff was made with the intention just to be one and dones,
right.
just with the sole purpose of having a massive cast of Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do Secret Wars with the cast we just had and keep adding like 1 or 2 in there. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Right? You
Yeah.
can't do that story at all. So stuff like Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, like they're very much one and done's. We'll see you next time, right? Like, no, or here's Miss Marvel in the Marvels. But I think a lot of it is purely the way corporations have been since the pandemic. It's like we have to have everything now. We need these billions right now. We have to just nickel and dime everyone, scrape everything together, because whatever's happening is going to happen at some point, and they're going to just be on their island, right? Like rest of Australia.
Yeah,
But
it's like I think it's like from what they said from pandemic is that they've seen all these astronomical profits and they want to keep those profits because they're getting more and more of the money that they wanted. But as as everything steadily went back to a kind of normal, all those profits started to dwindle, and now they have to
Right.
try and find some way to get those profits back,
Mm.
which is let's greenlight a whole bunch of stuff, and hopefully with the Marvel brand and name, you can consistently hit the $600 million mark on a lot of these things to get the profit margins back up to where they were when it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the see what sticks part comes in, because I don't believe in any reality that Shang-Chi had a plan for a TV show revolving around his sister.
Yeah, that's
most
such
of
a
the
weird
matters.
one. That's so weird.
Like,
Like,
sure, like that's a cliffhanger in the movie, right? But that's
Mm.
clearly going to be something else for his sequel if he ever gets one. Like, same
yeah,
with the Eternals with the Celestials at the end. Like,
it
that
was
was clearly
weird.
meant for a sequel there.
Yeah. It was weird how they approached the announcement to all these things. You know, they're like, oh, we're doing a Shang-Chi 2. We're doing a spin-off TV series. Black Panther's getting a sequel and 3 TV series. You're like, what? You know, it's
And
like,
where's
no.
any of them? No.
Yeah, you're lucky if you're getting Eyes of Wakanda in summer, and that's it, I guess. And
Yeah.
that wasn't even one of the initial pitched ones, so it's like, all right, whatever. Cool. Like, yeah.
And sure,
I think
we get in Black Panther 3, everyone knows that was
yeah, that's obviously, yeah.
obvious.
Thanks, Denzel Washington.
Thanks for telling everyone what we already knew. Right.
Yeah, it's true. So
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem comes from that. It's just to try and do too much to get too much. They were
yeah,
already planning to do too much as it was, so just throwing everything out like, we need stuff for Disney Plus. What can we do? Shang-Chi spin-off. There you go, done.
yeah. That was clearly it at the time, and I do think that there's definitely been a pullback, and especially if you hear their like discussion about the future of Disney Plus, and they're like, well, we're looking at Daredevil Born Again now as sort of a template, and Agatha all along. It's like, oh, so you're
An
going
actual
to
TV show.
you're going to budgets that are going to be manageable. Like Agatha was under 40 million, Born Again is under 70. So I think anything you see in the future, Daredevil's probably the high end of the budget, which
Possibly, yeah.
and it's
Depending
like
what they do.
right. Like you should probably pull that back, and I think you should probably do that for the films as well. Like you can do a Shang-Chi 2 for $100 million, but the way Marvel Studios operates with so much CG that gets wasted and they spend 6 months working on it only to throw it away, I don't know. Maybe you can't anymore. Maybe the optics have changed there. So,
yeah, I think even that's down to the pandemic, right? Where it's just they're trying to rush everything and rush it in when they can do it. Like, it's never worked.
And then also with how they're now trying to not offend anyone, especially with the like constant redoing and filming certain stuff from Captain America, and it's like in a political thriller, you're going to offend someone because of what the movie entails, and seeing this how they're trying to get as much money as they possibly can by trying not to offend anyone is just technically ruining the movie before it even comes out.
Yep, it's sad, but that's the status of everything today. So it's I
At
guess
least Cap has a chance. Obviously, there's the.
I know he has a chance,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
hearing all this because they're trying to do reshoots because of certain in real life things happen, and not wanting to offend like most of the casual audience if they lean into a certain political view. And I'm like, do you not understand the point of Captain America?
No, the grifters don't. Like they're dumb. So it's. I mean, when James Gunn has to go out there and in his opening statement about Creature Commandos has to go, I'm not worried about offending the Nazi fan base, and then says F them. And half the comments are like, why is he against me? Because you're a Nazi. Like, what? So like we're at that point where you have to be slapped in the face with being like, this isn't made for you, evil person. It's sure.
There's a history book instead. Like, read it.
That they can't read. Come on. They need somebody to explain it to them and twist all the words into what they think it is.
I mean, that tends to be what school is for.
No, that's true too.
But
Cletus dropped out of school, so it's yeah.
Cletus' family couldn't afford free public school.
It's true.
What a shame.
Well, I guess that's gonna end it with that. But well, everybody, thank you for watching that video. And as always, you can like, subscribe, share, do whatever you will. Check out the recommended video that's popped up somewhere on the screen. And also, if you would like additional content, including more discussions and more unfiltered content, check out what we offer to the members section, which has new videos going up all the time.